Hi. Hi, Joan.
I unmute. I was trying to find my unmute button.
It's okay.
How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I guess everybody's still in bed because it's raining out.
Oh, I slept late myself this morning.
Did you? Good.
My husband and my son usually leave around 7, and I'm usually up by the time they're gone. And today I heard them barely. Next thing I knew, it was after 8 o'clock. What?
It's
Whoops.
okay.
Every now and again, you got to do it.
Yep. Absolutely. Did I forget to mail that? Oh my God, I am terrible. I keep carrying stuff around to mail and I keep forgetting to put it in the mailbox. Did I put it in the mailbox at home? Did I not bring it with me? Oh my God. I don't think I put it in the mailbox. What is wrong with me? What is that card? Holy shit. Oh, well. Where is everybody? I can't believe nobody's on the call.
I know.
Am I on the wrong day? What's going on here?
No, and you sent out a thing yesterday. No, it's the first. Oh, someone else is coming.
Oh, great. 3 of us. Almost over. We only have a couple of classes left. We have Dave Jenks in 2 weeks, like the next 2.
Oh, the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, like not next time, but the time after that,
Oh,
which is awesome. I hope a lot of people show up for that because that would be embarrassing.
yeah. Yeah.
Stephen.
Steve Zaborski's here. We can start now.
Oh, yeah. Christine.
Very quiet.
Hi, baby.
Mr. Stone.
Mrs. Bucher.
What's up?
We got Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Can only wonder.
We're just waiting a little while because it's raining and right.
And that has
And
everything to do with it.
It does. Agents are slower in the rain.
Okay,
Traffic slower in the rain.
okay,
You agree?
sure.
I mean, Joan and I were the only 2 on here at 11. What's up? Hi, Justin. Did you do your mailings? Did you type all your letters out?
Bunch of stuff.
All right.
I gotta come in and print out my labels. I got all the stuff yesterday though.
Oh, good.
So I
Do you
should
have all
be
the, Do you have all the 7 weeks, the rest of the 7 weeks done?
Yeah, we'll have to wait for them to come in.
Oh, good. But you did it?
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. It's awesome.
Fine.
You're
Now I have to
doing-
Google where I have to put a stamp because I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's on the, actually, you know what? I actually kind of believe you. I was at a top right-hand corner. I know.
honestly was gonna put it in the left.
It's so funny because I was at a closing and the buyer had to write a check to my seller and they didn't know how to fill the check out and we had to sign it or anything. I was like, what? And they owned a nail salon and the agent didn't know either.
So bad.
It's crazy. I mean, the kids aren't even gonna know how to do cursive anymore. They're
No,
not
they
even
don't know how to sign
teaching it.
their name.
Yeah, so I mean, talk about the fraud. Everyone can print, you know? Sorry, guys, just figured I'll wait another minute or so. Oh, see? You wait, you get more people.
There he is.
I guess being late's better than not showing up at all, huh, Billy?
Nothing like getting immediately called out. That is fantastic.
Always.
That is amazing. Ben just walked by. He's like, hey, you jumping on Kristen's class this morning? I'm like, absolutely. Morning.
I know it's raining, I know.
Yeah, I got my second shot yesterday. I feel 100% fine today.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot
I
of
was-
people don't feel good, but maybe because, you know, you're in the older category.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, I've definitely had worse hangovers than this.
That's good.
Well,
You're back.
I'm really old and it kicked my butt.
Yeah, when they say the middle age group, it's like bothers them, like they get sick.
I got Johnson & Johnson and that was wicked sick.
Really?
Somebody told me to do
Awesome, baby.
Pedialyte.
Pedialyte,
Yeah, so I drank a bunch of it yesterday and a ton of water, a couple gallons.
nice.
You know, martini for breakfast.
Hey, Ben, thanks for coming. Sorry, we already gave the listing to Joan, so you missed out. He's not paying attention.
He's not.
He's still trying to figure out how to get on.
Only been
I have
doing
my
it for a
book.
year.
Hey, Ben. Oh, that's
there he
who Bruce
goes.
Wayne is.
Huh? No, Ben's gone now. Oh,
Went to put on his cape and cowl.
all right, well, here we go. All right, let's get started. Good afternoon, everyone.
Morning.
Good
Morning.
morning. Did everybody did everyone read their pages?
I will admit I only got halfway through.
Anybody else read it? So we can have a conversation.
It's the first time I only got halfway through.
Billy, you want to talk about what you read?
No, because I can't find my book. Wait, did I somehow manage to get in your shit list this morning?
You always are. So I guess what we're going to need to do from now on is we'll just read the book all together. Like I'll just sit here and we'll read. So we
Like
actually
Bible
read
study?
the book. Yeah. All right. Well, since no one read the book, or the pages, unfortunately, let's just kind of jump into just open discussion. I also have a video to show you guys from an auction that I went to. I was going to tell you that experience because that was interesting. But what have you guys been doing from, since we started this until now to move your investing business forward? Have we implemented anything? Have we been looking at properties? Have we purchased anything?
I haven't, I've been looking at stuff, but I haven't pulled the trigger on anything, but certainly just kind of listening to what everybody's had to say. And truth be told, I haven't been able to read the pages, at least from last week to this week or 2 weeks ago, but just kind of taking it all in. I'm excited to hear about the auction that you went to, because I just want to collect information and see what is going to work best.
Mhm. Awesome.
How come you haven't pulled the trigger?
Just life.
I'd actually like to share something real quick. I just came back from New Orleans. I had to visit my sister-in-law down there. And I never knew this. I knew she had purchased a couple of properties and sold and all that. But the house that she's living in now, it was a 2-family and it was made into a single family. And she owns that, and she owns the one adjacent to it, which is identical to it. They're called shotgun homes. And basically there were 2 families, and they're long and thin structures. She bought each of those, like, I don't know, 25 years ago for like $12,000 to $14,000 each.
Wow.
And now the neighborhood's really developed quite a bit. There's all kinds of new restaurants and bars just like a 1/10 of a mile down the street from her. I use my KW app, and I was looking up properties for sale, like on the streets adjacent to her. And the properties are listed at like in the 6s. So I'm like, holy crap, Maria did an amazing job on purchasing property, and the value has just dramatically gone up over the 20 years that she's owned them. So
Does she
That-
rents out the other one?
no, she was renting. Well, she was renting both. She had a 3rd property she was living in. She was renting out these 2, and she ended up that terminating the rental with one of them, and she moved into that and then sold the one that she was living in. And then she sold the other one next door to her to instead of renting it, she just sold it to this guy. But I mean, it spoke to me, so much, someplace completely outside of Massachusetts, kind of like what Ben was talking about with his properties in Alabama. New Orleans isn't too far from there, but opportunities with properties, and what you could buy them for so cheap compared to Massachusetts prices, and how the values have gone up so much.
Mhm.
Just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Billy, did you have something?
I was going to say, I started, so I've written some handwritten notes, and I was actually surprised at the amount of return phone calls I've actually got. I've probably written 7 or 8 and gotten 4 or 5 responses. Enough where I was kind of like shit shocked, like, all right, now what do I do? One was for some land in Marshfield. But I only would have had interest in the land. The guy wanted to build a spec home, and I have no need for that. And then there were a couple of absentee owners. One was even in my neighborhood that it took 3 handwritten notes in the mailbox, but on the 3rd one, the property had been, the homeowner is in assisted living, and it was a matter of when one of the children went by and checked out the mailbox. So it's interesting that people respond. I personally think that right now we're on that cusp of a potential changing market, where if you've been patient this long, I think you should just be patient a little bit longer. I get a 1031 exchange. I have to buy a property in 31 days, or identify a property in 31 days. So I'm gonna, one of the places that we own now, I'm just sending out a blanket letter to everybody in the building, say I already own one in the building, and if they're interested in selling, I would talk to them. So that's where I'm at.
In Marshfield?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the rental numbers on it are like, for $480, $490 a month positive cash flow. It might even be higher than that.
Wow.
If I had my spreadsheets, I'd know.
Right? That was in this chapter.
It was in the chapter. It also talked about your expenses, how to make the properties better. as far as what the sales would be, some of the work you can do, whether you keep it at, well, it didn't give numbers or what a B or a C property, A, B, or C properties, the returns that you can get by the work you do, and you can overdo it. I know I have in a couple of properties, but still you asked about who was chasing property. I had a meeting last night in front of the planning board in Abington and got a positive vibe from it. And it was a property that was listed by another agent. And I actually went back to that agent because I knew the agent and said, talk to the owner. I'll be glad to try to purchase it with contingencies. And we got it to a certain point, although they want me to close now at the end of this month without my approvals, but I'm trying to work that out by offering the fellow a little bit more money on a daily basis of paying his taxes on the land if he gives me a little more time. So much per day, like he has $50 more a day added to at the end, or I'll pay you now $50 a day at the end of each month, because I too am trying to do a 1031 exchange. And the reverse exchange costs more money and it gives you less time to spend the money when you finally take ownership to do the work. But probably what I'm getting at is, like Billy, if you look for the property, it's going to be there. It can be found by making phone calls. I got a hold of somebody in Georgia yesterday for a derelict building in Weymouth, and it was just somebody that I know called me on it and said, here's a address, give him a call. I just drove by a house. And the person doesn't want anything. He happens to be a tenant and a friend of mine. So the driving around idea is a good way to go. They're not going to come out and say, here I am, come and find me. You're just going to have to search for it. And you should be looking to buy right now. Interest rates are low. Values might be a little high, but the interest rates are low and they're not going to change.
If I can just touch on that, like Steve, so we closed on that Marshfield place. It talks about like we're out there hunting for leads for sales. We closed on that Marshfield place a year ago. It was April 30th, and I was freaked out buying at the beginning of the pandemic because I didn't know what was happening. And we closed on it for $191,000. We get $1,800 a month for rent. Again, it's around $482 a month positive cash flow. The actual value of the property is up greater. It's around 23% inside of 12 months. So, I mean, that's not a bad return. I mean, that would be the difference of about 3 or 4 closings, you know, up almost $40,000, or actually over $40,000 already. Wish I bought 2, because about 4 other ones had come onto the building after that one.
That's always going to happen.
And you know what, Steve, when we bought that, I was the highest sale in that building ever. Yeah. And the buildings were built in the 80s. I was the top sale, and I was kind of like, what the hell am I doing here? And then every single one after has been greater than what we paid for it. And like I said, now they're 240, 191 a year ago, 240 today.
All the other sellers.
Is it a condo? Is it a condo? Is it a condo? It's a condo?
Yeah. I like condos. I know not everybody does. It's just I'm not that handy. I'm super lazy and I don't want to manage anything. I got a wife and kids to manage. So I want, I probably get lower returns on my money, and that's okay.
And your wife and kids?
I'm sorry, Steve. You want my wife and kids?
No. It's a low return. I said on your wife and kids. Okay.
Oh yeah. There's terrible return on those too. Better return on my property, but I like the condos. I mean, we just closed Worcester, and I hadn't been there in like 8.5 years, and I closed on the thing. I still didn't step foot in it, Steve. I still didn't know what my product looked like. I managed to get out. So anyway, I wish I bought 2.
Yeah, no, I like condos too. It's easy to manage. You don't have to spend a lot of time. You just have to find a good management company. They're not going to increase fee or put a special assessment. I think that those are the key things. And I happen got condos in Weymouth too last year. I got one in Greentree Lane for $220. So we put in a new bathroom, new kitchen. It spent about 15 grand. And I got really good rent on that. I got like 2,300 because everything's brand new. So I still able to cash flow close to $1,000 a month. I'm
That's
able to
great. Did you
cash
see-
flow.
Did you see that some knucklehead just listed one over there for 314,000?
Yes, I saw that, and I know it has gone up. Yeah, I like condos too. But it's just really hard to find cash flow property nowadays. I saw a 6-unit in Whitman, but it was on the market only for 2 days. It was asking for $799, I think $799 or $699, 6 family. But it was only on the market for 1 or 2 days. It's just really hard to find cash flow property.
I'd have to go to the bank of Steve Zabosky to finance that one.
What you have to do is you have to make the phone calls to those places and buy it off market.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the MLS every day, it's gonna be you,
Everybody else.
4, 8, how many people we get on here? 9 people, 12, 13 people.
13.
You get 13 plus everybody else in the world's doing the same thing. It's all, you just have to, you can find it. You just got to make calls. That's why the land is so, I think is a better way to go, because the value is building them. You gain equity quickly. It's not the easiest thing to do. It's a good way to learn. But there's less people doing that than there are looking for those older brick buildings, 4s, 6s, 12s, 20s. Everybody wants those.
Steve, I remember you said something a while ago, and it resonated with me. Was just, always focus on zoning. Look at zoning, because I think a lot of people don't. They look at maybe just the structure. Obviously the zoning is the highest and best use, which may be far greater than what they're actually or how they're using it.
Yeah, that's the property that I was in front of the boards last night is in the R20 zone. Bill may know this, in Abington, which is a denser zoning. Then there's an overlay of a CBD, which adds more value to the property, and then you can get some special permit work. So it's and it's not a lot of money to pull the trigger to do it on my end. And the refinances are good right now too.
Yee, how many properties do you own?
5.
Oh, wow. Are they all condos?
No, I have 3 condos, 1 single, 1 2-family.
Awesome. Are they all local?
They all in South Shore.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I don't like to be a distant landlord. I just don't feel good to be a distant landlord.
Mhm.
I like to be able to see my property, able to touch it. I don't want to fly 2 hours, 3 hours.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you had them for?
Within 5 years, within the last 5 years.
You got
Yeah.
all of them within the last 5 years. Wow, that's awesome. It's
Yeah.
like 1 a year.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to learn like you guys.
Mhm.
Trying to build up my passive income, and hopefully I can retire soon.
Right, right. Good for you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So did you borrow against one to buy the next one, or were you just able to do it the old-fashioned way?
I do it the old-fashioned way. I didn't do cash out with finance. I didn't do any of that. I just do it the old-fashioned way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to save up as much as I can and move on the second property. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
But definitely you can do a cash out with finance, or and to get the money out and buy your second one, the third one. The thing with rental property is a lot of people think when they buy a rental property, it's hard to get a rental property because now they have to make more income, make more money, but it's not, because your rental income actually offset your liability, and sometimes it helps. That's why you see those people who buy more and more property. It's just the more property they have, it's easier for them to get a loan because now they have more cash flow, there are more incomes coming in. For example, your mortgage, let's say your mortgage is $1,300 a month and you get 18 in rent, your bank can use your 1,800 to offset the liability.
Mhm. Awesome.
I think they use a formula of 75% of whatever the rent might be.
Yes, or your tax return. If you already file a tax return, they use your tax return. Or 75% if you haven't filed your tax return. That's what I was told.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. What else? What else you guys got? What else have you been doing?
So I did something similar that what Billy did. I sent him handwritten notes to a condo complex that I was interested in investing in. Haven't got any returns to my handwritten notes. So Billy, you must have better handwriting than I do, or a better story to tell.
Mhm.
So I did do that, and actually I've been doing follow-ups this week on that because I just started doing it probably a week and a half ago. And since the last time we were on the phone, I've also made an offer, wasn't accepted, on an investment property down in Plymouth. The offer wasn't accepted, but I started the process. I moved
Yeah.
forward.
That's awesome.
And the next day, I also got pre-approved for a loan to buy a vacation home, which at this point I was thinking was going to be a second home, but I bought it with the intent that I may dabble in the Airbnb or that type of business as well. That offer unfortunately wasn't accepted either, and that one really bummed me out because it was someplace that I've always wanted to invest in. So, but I think just being on these calls, I know I could do it, and I just wasn't pulling the trigger. And once I pulled the trigger, it became so much easier, and it just was like a big weight lifted off my shoulder. And now I'm every day just searching for, I might be searching more for me than for my clients, but that's okay. I need to grow my investment portfolio. So that's what I'm doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Joan, it took a couple of weeks for my responses.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yeah, it was not immediate. Like I almost like, I got a text from some guy, hey, I got your handwritten note about the land. I'm like, oh shit, did I send a handwritten note about land? And I started going through, and I public record the guy. I'm like, which one was it? And I had sent it out like 3 or 4 weeks prior, and
okay.
Just a perfect storm. It's like one of those things that people grab the mail and maybe they threw the cool thing about a handwritten note over a postcard is the postcard's going to go in the trash. I think the handwritten note might go on the counter. The problem is they may throw stuff on top of it for a week or two, and all of a sudden they pick it up again. They reread it and they're like, you know what? Let me just see what this is about. So
Yeah.
don't give up. And it's, time on task over time.
Yeah, well, I have been successful in the past. I had a couple of listings from handwritten notes that I did before. So I do believe in them, and I do them all the time. I don't know, I was listening to something yesterday. I think it was that growth call that they have at 2:00. And what they say is the devil is in the detail, and the detail is the follow-up. And that's where I tend to fall. I go all gun ho on that first step, and then I don't know, I keep going gun ho on first steps instead of just pausing and doing the real follow-up. So,
Hey, Joan, you go back to the, and this might sound pretty silly, but, I may not have the MREI, but I have the MREA. And there's nothing that says that you can't do an 8x8 touch for investment properties too. If you start calling expireds and FSBOs, there's many people that will tell you you're not going to get it the first time. It may take the 6th, 7th, 8th. And it may be, the same thing. I'm sure Steve Zabosky on some of the ones that he's scratched and clawed for, it could have taken years. So, just set up a system like an eight touches. It may be in 16 weeks as opposed to 8. But just set a system for what you want to do.
right. Yeah.
I'm having trouble. I agree with you, Billy, because it's like I got these clients that are doing it, but one of the investors in the group, he's so aggressive. I mean, I can't keep up with the guy. And it's like, I almost feel like I have to set up, I can be looking at myself, but mainly I'm trying to find stuff for him. But it's like, I want to follow up my regular retail business too. I got a ton of people in my database that don't know how much the house is worth in today's market that I want to say that to. And then, also with the, especially working with these investors, I mean, it's just, the competition is real out there right now, super real. I've never seen it like it. I mean, Steve is right. I mean, anything that hits the MLS, forget about it. It's over. There was a good one that came in Braintree. Steve, you probably saw it like last week off of Common Street. Did you see that little one that came up like 440? About 1,400 square foot house, town sewer, Cape, 3-bedroom. I mean, I can't believe it's probably worth like 650 flipped around. I don't know. I think it probably sold for 550 or close to 6. So you're not only competing with on those ones, but you're competing with the end user, you know, the person that's going to move in there and just doesn't want to make money on it and just wants it, maybe rent it or move into it. I find it challenging. I think it's super challenging. I know Blazo and I talk all the time, and it's just hard. I mean, you got to work triple or quadruply hard to just find one deal. It's tough. It really is.
Mhm.
Sounds like an auction I went to.
All
Yeah,
right,
look at-
we'll talk about the auction.
Listen, there was an auction down in Halifax, these condos. I actually bought one in '98 for 62,000. And I told Billy about it. A friend of mine went down the other day. He showed a picture of me. There's a line down the street. I said to him, I said, don't pay a dime over 125 for one of those condos in Halifax. The thing sold out at auction at 185. I mean, holy smokes. You're not going to resell that place for more than 220, 230 down there in Leiden Lane in Halifax. I mean, who's paying that much at an auction for that? How are they making any money off of that if they flip it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. We do, right, Zeb?
I left.
Zeb, yeah, it wasn't even over yet, and Zeb just walked away. I'm like, don't you know how much it's gonna sell for? It was kind of ridiculous.
Where was
So,
that one?
it was in Rockland. It was on Custer Street in Rockland. So they had, the way that they did it was they had 2 open houses, like you could go from like 11 to 1 on 2 days, one week and then one the following week. So my brother and I were going to purchase it together. So he went the first week because I couldn't go, and then we both went the second week to look at it. It was a 2-family. It said it was a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, but it was really a 6-bedroom, 2-bath, but whatever. And it just had, they each had a kitchen and a living room, and that's it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. The windows were all boarded up. At least the windows were still there. They weren't like completely missing, which was good. So we had a couple meetings together, and we ran some numbers and figured out what it would cost to, renovate it. Do we flip it? Do we just hold it and rent it out? So we were going to hold it and rent it out. So we had a number that we were like, this is it. We're not going any higher than this, because you have to pay whatever the auction number is that you agree, then you have to pay 2.74% over that, for the, for the friggin' auctioneer, I think, is who gets it. And then, from there, we were gonna obviously pay cash because we couldn't get financing, and who's gonna, finance something like that. So anyways, you had to go to the bank and get a check made out to the town of Rockland for $10,000. It was a Tuesday auction. You check-in was at 10, and then the auction was to start at 11. So you go in, you show them your bank check made out to the town. They take your information, they give you a paper paddle. And then they also give you a copy of the purchase and sales that they want you to sit there and read, that you can't change. That half the people don't even know what it says, because half the words make no sense, but typical purchase and sale. So anyways, so then my brother ended up showing up like at 10:30. And there were cars everywhere, both sides of the street, all the way down. The neighbors were out. There are people everywhere. And then I saw Steve poking around over there. So Steve went and got a number. My neighbor lives behind. He was there. Nicole Connor's brother-in-law was there. So it was very interesting to kind of see people there. But there were a lot of people there. My brother's like, this is going to sell well over what our number was. And I'm like, really? He's like, look at all these people. I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe they think they're gonna get it for 25,000, who knows, So I have a video of the auction. Do you want to see it? I'm gonna show it to you. All right. See if you can find me. I'm in the video twice. All right, hold on. Where is it? Where did it go? Hold on.
Is that the sales takeaway?
It's gone, right? No, hold on. Where are you? Here you are. Share screen. Yeah. All right. You see this?
Yep.
All right. Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
No.
All right, hold on. Hold on. I gotta share.
That's Alex's sister right there, number 46.
Oh yeah, that's 46. Alex
Manion's sister.
Yeah, that's right. She was there too. Yep. All right, here we go. Can you hear it? Tell me.
No.
Hold on. Can you?
Now you can. Something's going on.
Then we shall open it up to bidding. And how much for it? $200,000 is where to start it.
249,500.
We had 200 and then with 249,500.
250.
250, thank you. And 275, and 275, and 275, and 275 in the back to number 20.
280.
280. I need a number. Sir, raise your bidder card. 280. 285 right here. And 290 to 34. And 300. 300 right here.
300.
I have 300.
305.
At 305. And 310 to 66. 310 and 320. 320. I have 310. 320. And 330. And 340.
350.
350. And 360. And 360. 350 I have, and 360. And 370.
375.
375 to bidder number 1. And 380. And 380. 375 I have. And 380 is where? 380. And 385. And 385. And 385, sir. 380 I have in front of me. 385, yes or no? $380,000 twice. 385. And
387.
387 and a half.
390.
390. 395. 395. And 400. And 400. And 400. 395,000 I have in front of me. Once. $395,000 twice. 400?
Yes.
400. 405. And 405. And 405. $400,000 I have. Once. $400,000 I have twice. 40, we're at 4. 405 and 410 and 410 and 410. $405,000 in front of me once. $405,000 twice. Any advances over $405,000? Yes or no? Sir, are you satisfied?
I'm good.
Any advances over 405? Yes or no? Fair bidding and fair selling. Can we confirm a sale? Sold for $405,000, sir. Can we see you in our office, bidder number 42? Congratulations. And qualified bidders, if you want to put your bidder cards in the box on the way out.
We should list our properties that way. Save money on photography.
Right?
Hey,
Right.
Kristen.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I got out of that is thank God they're wearing masks because they're probably all throwing up in their mouths. You know what I mean? I mean, that was horrible.
My brother and I were looking at our neighbor was standing next to us. So we were looking at each other going, are they out of their goddamn mind? Our number was, what was it, 285 was our number. We didn't want to go over that.
I mean,
And
look at, maybe Steve can jump in, but I mean, I know the rocket, you know.
I'm sorry,
Rocket-
325, sorry, go
I know,
ahead.
I mean, they spent 405 on that. That place looks like you're gonna at least put in 100,
80, 90, yep.
right?
Yep.
So then you're for 515. Are we selling houses for 650 and Rockland like that right now? I mean, Steve,
I'm on
isn't that,
Custom
I mean,
Street.
wouldn't you
For-
want to have at least 100, 150? I mean, talk commissions, taxes, all that stuff. I mean, who's gonna pay 650 in the back end?
I think I read in the paper, the fellow's got a contracting business. He was gonna keep a couple guys busy. Sound like he's gonna keep the property, but
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
it was 104. I was just thinking myself, 310, 315. I think I left when it started going over 300.
Mhm.
I walked around the other side and just kept going.
So isn't it likely though that they would be holding that as an investment property rather than looking
Yeah,
to
they're not
flip it?
gonna flip it. They
Yeah, no,
can't flip
they
it.
can't. The
Yeah.
flip, if they flipped it 489 at best. So they're, it's, I mean, like I said, ours was 325 plus the 80 plus the 2.75, all that other stuff. And we were gonna renovate it and keep it and rent it out, but this guy's gonna have to friggin' live in it for Christ's sake. I mean, we were just, everybody was looking at each other like, is he out of his goddamn mind? I mean, honestly, the guy was like, shit, after they heard everybody, but it was a nice day. It was an experience, I'll tell you. And it cost me $8 to go, so, because I had to pay for the bank check, so.
Bucher, that is legit watching the eBay effect live.
Yeah,
You know, watching people getting caught up in the mayhem. It was funny, Steve, Bucher called me right after. She's like, you'll never guess what it sold for. and you remember what I said, Kristen?
yeah,
I said 407, and she's
Yep.
like, not bad. She's like 405, and it was just
Yep.
because stupidity. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wild. That's kind of cool to watch, though.
yeah. And when my brother got there, I didn't tell you this before because I didn't want to like have you see what it sold for, but he's like, this is gonna be at least 4 or over. And I'm like, no way. He's like, yep, look at all the people here. And it did. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. But like I said, it was an experience. I mean, you have to know your number before going in, because I kept saying to my brother, this is it. I don't want to get caught and be like $1 million because I want to win, and have a little paddle in my hand, I'm like, who should hold it, but you have to have the number, and that's got to be it. But again, like, even if it just went so far over that it was just didn't even make any sense.
That's
But it was
wild.
fun. It was fun. So.
Awesome. When's the next one?
I don't know. That's well, you know what the thing is with that too, is I had the title pulled beforehand. I called the town to see if there was an outstanding water or sewer bill, and there were. And I got there early and I talked to the treasurer, and I was asking him questions because there were liens on the property. There was a Massachusetts lien for $364,000, and there was like 2 other general liens, which totaled between that and the other lien was like $394,000. And I didn't know if it was going to convey with the property. And when I talked to him, he's like, no, there's no taxes on it due. And I'm like, well, what about this lien? What about the water bill? There's no water bill. There is. I called yesterday. There's a sewer bill for this amount, water bill for this. He's like, oh, that's not right. I'm like, oh my God. And when they asked for questions before this started, they wouldn't answer anybody's questions, like, oh, we have no representation or warranties, blah, blah, blah. So they wouldn't answer any questions. So I'm glad that it went higher, because when I was there, I was like, I don't want to get this because I don't know about that lien. Like, imagine if you paid $300,000 and then you found out there was a $400,000 lien on it that you had to pay.
That's when you got to walk away from your deposit.
Right. Yeah. Then it would cost you 10 grand. Because
That's
you
a
lose
good-
the 10 grand.
That's basically it's like going to college right there. You
Yeah.
learned a hard $10,000 lesson, but you didn't learn a $400,000 lesson.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I guess you got to do your due diligence ahead of time, obviously. And again, for something like that, they're not going to be forthright about, what is going to convey or whatnot, and even the purchase and sales wasn't clear, on what you're getting or what you're responsible for. So I don't know if I'll bid on another auction again, to be honest.
Wait till the market crashes. You'll be able to buy that thing for like 60 cents on the dollar.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah. I guess it just depends on, again, the research that I do and how I feel about,
That
the answers
market
that I'm
will
getting.
come back. I mean, I'm talking to an attorney right now who he's telling me he's building up his short sale department because he's already seeing the delinquencies on mortgages and the forbearance. So it's not a matter of, it's only a matter of when.
Mhm.
When they start trickling back. It's
Yep.
if you
Billy,
can't find, yeah.
Can I ask you a question? And I don't know if
Yeah.
anyone's answered this. I've been hearing that because, a lot of my guys that I know that investor market, they almost relish in the fact in their minds that exactly what happened in 2008 is going to happen now. Like it's almost like, it's funny with them. They're like, it's going to happen. And I've heard that forbearance thing and so forth and so forth and so on. But in my mind, everyone at the prices they're at, everyone's got equity. So even if you're behind in your mortgage, you just have to sell your house. There's not going to be short sales.
So Benny, interesting conversation there was I talked to an agent up in Braintree yesterday, and the agent said, "Hey, I need help." Like, what do you mean? He's like, "Oh, a client buddy of mine called me and he was too embarrassed to, tell me what's going on, but he did the forbearance and then they got behind. They got the foreclosure notice in the mail that they're foreclosing in 2 weeks. The guy's got a lot of equity in the house, but as of right now, they won't stop the auction." So
Yeah, wouldn't it, I mean, listen, you're talking to a guy that, unfortunately who's gotten those foreclosures, will foreclosing next week, foreclosing in 2 weeks. And it was pretty flippin' easy just to call an attorney and have them file some motions and delay it. I mean, I had it delayed for a year, and again, I don't boil my story, but I'm just saying there's ways around that. And with everyone having equity, there certainly doesn't need to be short sales, right?
So, I mean, we saw it the first time. I don't think for a second we'll see that again. I don't think for a second. But what I believe we will see is those markets that should never have come up with the rising tides of certain towns in the South Shore, North Shore, that really shouldn't have seen the value increase that they did. However, they were the beneficiaries of the towns around them. It's like the last to come up and the first to go. I think. Because we saw it back when it first happened. You saw it in the, and all due respect, the towns that you saw it were like, you'd see it in Brockton, you'd see it in Taunton, like some of the harder areas. And then it took a long time. And I don't know that you really ever saw it get to like the Hinghams or Norwells or Duxbury's or Cohassets. And I don't think we're going to see what we saw before. I don't. I think we'll see opportunity, but not like we saw before.
Yeah, I mean, because I look at it like this too. I have a son that lives in San Diego, and the prices have been like this for 15 years. Like they've literally been like this for 15 years. They haven't changed. Or I say 10 to 12. When I go out there, I ask people how long they've been. They got to a really high level and they just like leveled off. So it's just expensive, but that's how I kind of feel. I think we're just going to get to a point where it levels off a little bit, and then because it can't get. I mean, I just don't see how people are going to afford ranches in Pembroke for $1 million. I mean, at some point, something's going to slow down a little bit, right?
No, but then you also got to agree. A big difference between this time and last time is last time people were doing 100% financing, 103% financing. They were actually leaving closing with like $5,000. They bought a house and they actually got money. Where now these people are putting down 20, 30, 40% of their own money, where if the market corrects 15, 20%, it's their own money. It's not even the bank's money.
Yep.
I'm going back to Alabama. I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye, Ben.
Okay, bye.
I do have to leave. Great class. Thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome. Anybody else have anything else they want to share?
Just other than Ben really fits in down in Alabama. No, I think that's it. I think that people gotta get out there and do something.
Yeah.
We spend all this time. I liked what Joan was saying. Honestly, my biggest takeaway today was what Joan said. I'm spending more time working on my own stuff than I am my clients. And you know what, Joan? For that, I commend you. It's like that's what you should be doing. And we have all the resources, we have all the tools, we know what we're supposed to do, and why we spend all our time finding deals for our clients and not ourselves. We're kind of letting ourselves down. So kudos to you, my friend.
Billy, did you just sell your Worcester property, or you're in the process of it?
Buddy, we closed on that thing. I never stepped foot back into it. It looked like an abandoned meth lab. It was.
Yeah, so you sold it.
It was.
You sold it. So what's your next step now that you just sold that?
Honestly, man, I'm kind of screwed. I have to. I did 1031 exchange. It cost $1,000 to do the exchange. You have 45 days to identify 3 properties. It doesn't matter where they are. We're looking Naples, Maine to Naples, Florida.
Yep.
I can't even. I think I'm dealing with 7 or 8 different realtors right now. We're looking down in Destin, Florida, North Myrtle Beach.
What's your criteria?
I wish, it depends, Willie. And what I mean by that is if it's in Destin, Florida, it's going to be one of these Airbnb condo hotels, but you got to put down upwards of 30%. So whatever my exchange is going to be, I'm going to have to add an additional $40,000 to $60,000 out of cash expense. If it's a 2-bedroom condo in Marshfield, I add nothing out of pocket. If it's a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, 2-bath in North Myrtle Beach, I'll probably have to add 15,000 to that. If it's a vacation home, it's not going to make the same type of rental income. If it's an Airbnb, it's going to be a cash cow. If it's local, it's going to be a positive cash flow 400 or 500. So we're all over the place, and I wish I could reel it in, but all these markets are super hot across the country, and I'm just trying to keep every avenue open. You know, little condo comes on over at Green Tree for 2 something right now. That could be a, you know, it could be something that we go for, but also, you know, I may be going down to North Myrtle Beach next week for a couple of days and get ready just to pull the trigger at any time. But we have, if we don't identify the 3 properties in the 45 days, what happens with our money is, one, I'll have to pay, it's like almost 1/2 of my exchange in taxes, because I fully depreciated my Worcester condo. So I don't want to pay Uncle Sam $20,000 in taxes. And 2, if we identify a property and it falls apart, then the 1031 exchange company holds my money for 6 months. And that's how they make money. They make their $1,000 off the exchange, but now they have my money to hold on to and invest how they want. So there's a lot of moving parts to it. I still think they're worth it, as opposed to we give enough money to the IRS.
So what you sold Worcester for, do you need to reinvest the similar amount?
Whatever my Alta at the bottom, we made no money on that thing, man. I made more money on can redemption during COVID than I did on that condo. I'm just gonna put that out there. And I bet if I did the math, it's pretty damn close. I gotta be honest. So, you know, we have to, whatever you got on your Alta statement, like, I have to reinvest 100% of that money in something else. And honestly, it was like $41,000. Like, I'm pretty transparent. It wasn't a ton of money, but if we don't invest that, I lose half in IRS taxes.
Oh, all right. So you just need to find something for at least 40,000.
I have to buy something that you got to put down 20. You can't go down. And here's the other thing. It's like some of these like condo hotels, you can't just claim it's going to be a vacation home where you're doing a tax exchange. So you have to put down the 20-25%. So if you start looking at $400,000 properties, you're talking $80,000 to $100,000 from exchanging 40. Then I got to come up with the other 60. I prefer not to, because I would rather wait and see if the market does cool down here and be able to buy another property 12 months from now, because then you get two for one almost. I just don't want to lose. I don't want to lose today's money. I don't want to lose tomorrow's money by investing in the property today.
Right. Gotcha. Cool. Well, good luck.
Yeah, I need it, bud. We should golf over that.
All right.
All right.
Awesome.
That's all I got, Kristen.
Anybody have any questions for anybody? Anything
Chris,
you want to talk about?
I was gonna say, you're fantastic for putting this whole thing together, because if nothing more, it gets people thinking. It gets them out of daily routines of just like, hey, I'm supposed to look for deals for other people other than myself. And, you know, the last thing, I know we've talked about a lot of times here, if you guys don't have your home equity lines on your primary, hurry up and get them before the values do come down a little bit and you have less money to take out. So if you're sitting, you know, I gave a good friend some advice a couple of years ago regarding equity lines. Get your money, put it aside. If you don't use it, you still have it. But if you don't do the equity line, you don't have anything to fall back on. And we've had ours now for 2.5 years and haven't touched a penny on it. But if the right opportunity came up tomorrow, we have that money on top of other stuff where it wouldn't financially put us in any burden.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that with the Cape House. I'm gonna every time I go to call banks and stuff, like to find out what the rates are, I get sidetracked, you know, and I have to do that because, I mean, obviously that house is worth a lot more than what I paid for it now. So, you know, getting an equity line with that house just to kind of sit there is huge, you know. But yeah, definitely. I mean, you know what works for me too is having a business partner in this too. So my brother and I are purchasing something together. So, you know, we kind of keep each other accountable, if you will. Like he texts me like almost every day properties. Like, look at this one. I'm like, it's $1 million, you know. But you know, he's always like, he's looking constantly. We're always talking about properties, you know. So it's, I guess, a little more fun, and like, I feel like I feel better about it because he already owns 2 4 families. And, you know, he's much smarter at this stuff than I am. So, you know, it's good to have that, you know, person there with you to kind of do it with.
And he's a good judge of what homes will sell for.
Yeah, apparently at auction too. Yeah. And he's very handy, so that helps.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we can scoot out a little early unless anybody has anything to say.
You're the best, Bucher.
Thank you. Well, in 2 weeks, we're going to interview, and Ben left, but in 2 weeks, we're going to interview Stacy Jordan, the mortgage broker from,
Yeah.
what's she at? What company is she at now? Say
It
it.
depends. New week, new company.
No, yeah, what is it called? Oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Homebridge.
Yes, Homebridge, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
my friend Vin
so-
told me that.
Yeah, so I guess Ben had told me that she owns some investment properties, and she is a mortgage broker, so I thought it would be a good person to interview. So we'll be interviewing her in 2 weeks, and then after that, Dave Jenks is going to be on.
Sweet.
So I hope that you all will be on, and you'll all invite a bunch of friends, because it'll be really embarrassing if there's like 4 of us on the call.
All
Like,
right.
really embarrassing.
Let's push that, Bucher. We can talk
Yeah.
before that.
Definitely. All right, everyone. Thank you for your time again. I appreciate it. And good luck with your investment searches.
Go buy something.
Go buy something. All right. Bye.